Alright, my loyal war dogs and war boys, and war girls. This is my loyal dog of war. His name is Rumble. He's better than most of you. Today we are going to attempt to unfuck our last attempt at how to cook salmon so that it doesn't suck. So, to start with, we've got a good piece of salmon over here. I've already cut it in half, and if it looks a little chewed up in here, that's because I am not that precise with the tweezers as I would like to be. What happens when you get a good chunk of salmon is it might still have some pen bones in it, and you need to get that shit out of there because you're going to choke a motherfucker with that, and not in the fun, sexy way. So, what you do, remember when The Little Mermaid came out, when you were just entering puberty, maybe getting into puberty, and you were all confused about a redhead with starfish on her tits? You want to pet the fish. Dun, 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 dun. Anytime you feel something hard, not that, in the fish. Anytime you feel something hard in there, you go in there and you get a set of tweezers. Do not spend good fucking money on culinary tweezers. Go down to Walgreens, CVS, whatever the fuck, spend $1 for a pair, get in there, find that shit. I got them all. Fuck yeah. Just give it a little nip, give it a little yank, you'll get this thing out that's a little bony hair. I'm not even going to try on that one. So, we've got basically a full stick of butter over here, getting happy. And just as a spoiler, we're going to try something on the fly this evening that I haven't actually made before with this recipe, so we'll see how it comes out. If you like it, let me know in the comments, subscribe, Patreon will be in there, all that happy horse shit. He needs kibble. So, we've got this getting happy. Our patron St. Julia, she likes to put a dollop of olive oil in there. For salmon, I like to go with straight butter. This is a fairly sturdy fish, but you still need to give it a little more respect than you give your kids when they're throwing a shit fit. So we're going to do this straight butter, and that's it. Once it starts making this sound, we're about good to go on this. Foamy. I'm going to give this another second to come up to temperature while I yap. Over here, we've got dill. Now, a word about herbs. Anytime you've got a herb, the stem is bullshit. This frilly stuff up here that looks like pubes, good shit, we're going to use that. This frilly shit down here, good shit, we're going to use that. This is bullshit. We don't want this. So, I'm going to add a little bit of dill to the butter because dill and salmon play together so well, it's not even funny. Shake that around, let it start popping a bit. Don't worry, noise is not the enemy here. I've got more dill over here. This is about 1.5 tablespoons already minced up for the wild experiment. So, I'm liking the sounds I'm getting off this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this beautiful pink flesh. Hey, you know where I'm going with this one. Move, war dog! And I'm just going to lay this in skin side down. Now, in the ocean, or in the freshwater as they migrate up to fuck, the skin protects the salmon, which is why I am doing it skin side down first. This will let the heat come in a little more gently, and then it'll cook it a little more gently. We're going to flip this in a couple of minutes, but for right now, I just want to let it soak some of this love up, get the butter on there, and what we're going to do is a French technique called arroser, which literally means to baste. What we're going to do is we're going to take a spoon, we're going to tilt the pan. We're not going to do this the whole time. We're going to mostly just let it sit, but we're just going to throw a little of our hot fat over this. You can see there's a little bit of color change going on, and I am really hoping I don't get a butter pop right now. That's not a tasty treat. That's a problem for when your wardrobe looks like this. Yay! That'll give it like a sort of half-ass sear, but not quite. We're going to do this a lot more on the other side so we come up with some crispy skin. Now, over here, I've got about 1.5 tablespoons of melted butter. And we are going to put the spurs to this a little bit. God damn it, dog of war. We're going to throw in our beautiful dill. Going back through the leftovers, or at least a little bit of them. And we're going to add heavy cream. You could probably do this with sour cream. You could possibly do this with milk, but I'm a fan of flavor. This is maybe half pint that I just put in there. This is going to reduce a little bit, and I'm only serving 2 people tonight, so you don't got to get crazy unless you're serving like the fucking Marines. If you are, they're not going to know how to pronounce any of this. Just give them a bowling ball and a butter knife. Both will be broken in about 20 minutes. Stir this around. Yay. And because we're not savages, we're going to use a little salt and pepper, which also goes on your fish. Now watch, in about a couple of minutes when I go to grab that again, I'm going to forget that I didn't latch it, and I'm going to grab the lid, and I'm going to fuck everything up. Just a smidge. Continue mixing this around so that everything incorporates. Make sure your towel is away so you don't burn the entire fucking place down. We do not need the roof to be on fire. I'm going to medium-low on this. Now for this, I'm going to go ahead and grab some tongs and try to be gentle about this. This is not my egg skillet, so it's kind of seen better days. I'm going to go ahead and use the metal on the Teflon. Lift that back down because we want that in place. If you look at the color change we've got going here, the color is changing. This is what you want to see for nicely done salmon. Now, while that comes up, because that cream was a little cold, it's going to take a minute, you can see we're getting a little bit of brown in the butter. That's a good sign. You don't want too much. Now you want to keep doing this a whole bunch. This is going to help crisp up the skin. Some people like to take the skin off. If it's done nicely, like I'm doing here, because I'd like to think I'm not a fuck up, although evidence sometimes suggests otherwise. What can I say? I'm only a human lord of the wasteland. I have yet to ascend to godhood, but I'm working on it. This will help crisp this up a little, and this is also going to keep moisture in most of the fish. If we did this flesh side up, all that shit just can evaporate freely. But since this is fish armor, oh hey, by the way, did you know that back in like the 20s and 30s they called condoms fish skins? I saw an old porno one time. It was so old it had subtitles and was silent. So you couldn't hear the slap happy, but there was a line. Hey honey, put on a fish skin. I don't want a kid. So yeah, there you go. There's your historical I didn't need that for the day. Keep this going. And the point where most people fuck this up is they let this go too long. I'm going to put this back down on the heat. I'm going to turn it down to low so that I can attend to my sauce, which as you can see has come up to a nice foam. So far we've got salt, pepper, dill, and cream in this. Not quite as thick as I'd like, so we're going to go let it go a little further. And I'm going to hope like hell that my salmon does not overcook while I'm at it. What we are also going to add is a small shot of lemon juice. Somewhere between a teaspoon and a tablespoon. This is going to cut the natural sweetness on the cream. We're going to stir that up, and it's going to finish doing its happy horse shit. And just because I really fucking love this stuff, I'm going to add a small shake of this elephant pepper. You've seen me use this before. I think it is delicious. But no, I am not going ham on this. I don't want to overwhelm the dill. I want the dill to play nicely with the salmon. I want the cream to play nicely with the salmon. This is just an accent. Hey, it's an accent. Yeah, shut up, Mario. Turn this up a little bit so it'll simmer down. I know, irony. It's wonderful, right? And I'm going to shove this back off the heat and just let the pan finish that shit off. We're pretty much about 30 seconds away from perfect on that right now, but since I fucked up my timing, this has a little bit further to go. What can I say? I didn't go to film school. Wipe down your cook surfaces, cook clean if you got time to clean, or time to lean, you got time to clean. I know you guys have heard this before, but this thing is a bitch to see through. Alright, either way, that's the gist of everything. Let this get down to where it's going to coat the back of a spoon nicely. Not quite as thick as I coated your mom's face, but a little bit less than when I did the creme brulee. And if you haven't seen that one, you need to go back and watch it because I fucking destroyed part of my kitchen making it for you motherfuckers. Either way, thicken this up a little bit. I would not add any flour or cornstarch to this. The cream will come down on this. If you saw the Patreon content, which you should sign up for because it's awesome, and if we fuck something up, that's going to be the only content for the week. Somewhere about the thickness on the cream spinach is where you're aiming. Salmon needs a decently thick sauce. This is why I was saying you could probably get away with using sour cream on this. But, yeah. This has been How to Not Fuck Up Salmon. Thank you. Like, subscribe, comment, Patreon. This is not your first fucking trip to YouTube. Dog of War, are you satisfied? I thought so. Good night, everybody.